Chapter 27. Jotham was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Eryashah, the daughter of Zadok. And he did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, according to all that his father Uzziah had done. However, he entered not into the temple of the Lord, and the people did yet corruptly. He built the upper gate of the house of the Lord, and all the wall of Ophel he built much. Moreover, he built cities in the hill country of Judah, and in the forest he built castles and towers. He fought also with the king of the children of Ammon, and prevailed against them. And the children of Ammon gave him the same year 100 talents of silver, and 10,000 measures of wheat, and 10,000 of barley. So much did the children of Ammon render unto him in the second year also, and in the third. So Jotham became mighty, because he ordered his ways before the Lord his God. Now the rest of the acts of Jotham, and all his wars, and his ways, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. And he was 25 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And Jotham slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David, and Achaz his son reigned in his stead. All right, let's go back up here to verse 1. Yesterday, Uzziah, the last chapter, Uzziah, he was the father of Jotham. Uzziah was these strengths of God, and God showing his strengths mighty over the kings, which he had set over his kingdom, and to establish justice and righteousness, and to keep it. And God was making an example, and God was showing when they don't do correctly and they don't turn. And here we had Uzziah, who went in before the Lord to offer incense, to offer up these pleasant odors, and that which only pertains to the priests. We'll find that God did disease him even in his skin, appearing in his forehead, and that is this flesh, even in his understanding. Uzziah was punished, and Uzziah had to set himself aside in the kingdom, because he was a leper, and he was there set aside to the day of his death. And we'll find out that Jotham was reigning over the people before the death of his father. He was actually acting as the king. Now, we'll go ahead and pick it up here in verse 1. Jotham was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Eryashah, the daughter of Zadok. And Jotham is God's finished, God's perfect, God's done, God's complete. He's accomplished, and he's at what I would like to call his wit's end with the king. The king's just, nobody will listen. They will not follow the law of God, and with the whole heart, like God said to do. And he was 25 years old when he begins to reign. His reign, we would see, would last 16 years, but 25 years old was he when he began to reign. 20 because 2 tens, that's we can witness the law, and that's redemption. 5 years because it's grace, that is that we can witness the law. That is grace of God. The law was the grace in the beginning, even of the greater understandings of old. And he would reign for 16 years. 16 because 10 and 6, that's the law working in man, even in the greater understandings of Jerusalem. That's that place of peaceful teachings. And his mother's name was Eryashah. She was the daughter of Zadok. And his mother, that would be his father's wife, or his father's understanding, which he come from, her name was Eryashah. And Eryashah is that dispossess, disinherit. See, to take back that which you was given, because we're going to find out, see, that's going to be what God's going to do. And she was the daughter of Zadok, and that was the understanding even of Zadok, the justice, righteousness too. And he did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, according to all that his father Uzziah had done. However, he entered not into the temple of the Lord, and the people did yet corruptly. And he did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord. And we're going to see that over a course of time, right is kind of slowly changing understanding of what is right and what is wrong. See, and what's being allowed in the land uh, is the slow degradation here of society around the king, and that's what we're witnesses. And he did that which was right, but according to all that his father Uzziah had done. And we'll find out Uzziah had sinned greatly against the Lord in the end. See, and Uzziah did not seek God with his whole heart, and we'll find out neither did Jotham. 3. He built the upper gate of the house of the Lord, and on the wall of Ophel he built much. He built the upper gate of the house of God, and that upper gate, that's that higher place even of judgment, and even in that higher understanding of judgment. And that wall, that's that place that separates. See, a wall, anytime you build a wall, it's a place of separation. It's separating something from something else. That's the wall of Ophel. Ophel is a mound. Ophel means mound. It's not a mountain. It's not a hill. It's a mound, and that's a small hill. And that's what Ophel was. And it was a place of defense, is what it was. And there he built much, because it was a little elevated place in the plain. For moreover, he built cities in the hill country of Judah, and in the forest he built castles and towers. And he built these cities in the hill countries of Judah. That's that place of praisings and those forested areas, those places of the trees, the mighty trees, these forested places. He built these castles and towers, and these towers are places of watches where they can watch from and see for distances. The castles would probably be better interpreted as forts and fortresses. 5. He fought also with the king of the children of Ammon, and he prevailed against them. The children of Ammon gave him the same year 100 talents of silver, and 10,000 measures of wheat, and 10,000 of barley. So much did the children of Ammon render unto him in the second year, also in the third. And he would fight against the king of the children of Ammon, the Molech even of the children of the nations. And he prevailed against them. And the children of Ammon, those of the nations, gave him the same year 100 talents of silver. And that year is that accumulation of days, that of those little understandings to make up a greater understanding, even 100 talents of silver. And that's judgment being weighed out in silver. And that silver, that's going to pass through the fire, see, to be purified. It's got to go through the judgment of God. It's a generation. And these 10,000 measures of wheat. And that's the law and the fulfillment being measured out of the wheat. And that's that harvest that's been awaited for, even 10,000 of barley. 10, that's the law again in fulfillment of the barley. That which we can see and understand and know. It's the beginning of the year, and the harvests are set. So much. See, and so much. This was a levy put upon the children of Ammon, of the nations. They would give him in the second year, and we can witness that's going to be a greater understanding. It's coming. Also in the third, and that's going to be completed. And that third, it's a portion, and it does complete. 6. So Jotham became mighty because he ordered his ways before the Lord his God. And Jotham becomes mighty. He gets well known. Everybody knows who Jotham is. God's finished. God's perfect. He's complete. And he's going to be accomplished even with his work. We'll find out. Because Jotham ordered his ways before the Lord his God. And to order, King James says prepare. The word is kun. And it means to set, to establish, to affix. Or to order, or to prepare. Make your ways before the Lord your God. 7. Now the rest of the acts of Jotham, and all his wars and his ways, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. And we would find a lot more information about Jotham there, and his wars and his ways. They are written. They are in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. That's those that contend with the mighty one and those of praises. that book, those words that are written down there so they stay, and we can use them to witness. 8. He was 25 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And 25 years old was he. 5, because it was grace. See, at the witness of the law, the redemption and the greater understandings of old, when he began to reign. And that's the law. The law of God is going to apply. It always does. And we can slowly see the judgment of God taking hold. And he will reign for 16 years in Jerusalem. And that's 16. Once again, 10 and 6. That's the law working in man. And the greater understandings in Jerusalem. That's that place of peaceful teachings. That's that place God's been making an example of, using for an example of teachings of peace. And that's shalom. That's to be under the covenant of God, and to be at peace even with the one who gives you the law for your own good. 9. And Jotham slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David. And Achaz, his son, reigned in his stead. And Jotham's going to pass on. God's perfect. God's finished. God's got his plan working. And they bury him in the city of David. That's that David was his father from long ago. And that is that chosen one. That is David is the beloved. The chosen one, I call him. And Achaz, his son, will reign in his stead. And Achaz, that's seized. That means taken hold of. God, and we remember Akatzia, and God is taken hold of. Yehoachaz, and God is seized. Achaz, now that's to be taken hold of or seized, would be his son, and that which is going to come forth from Jotham, because we'll see. God is going to make an example. God's always working. We're going to move forward. Chapter 28. Turn, return.